Hello, and welcome to episode 377 of Prog Review. And today I'm talking about Big Science by Laurie Anderson. This is the reissue from 2007. I have it on album too. But we'll cast our minds back to a time I must have been about 16. There was an offer on at the local hour price, so I was doing one of these two for a tenner deals, I guess, and money being tight back in well, it still is tight, but money being tight, I tracked down to our price at Walthamstow and bought Big Science and Mr. Heartbreak by Laurie Anderson because they were on offer. All of the Warner Brothers albums, I think, were on offer at the time. I think they may have had a few Yes albums there, but I didn't go for those. I went for Laurie Anderson. Again, way before that. I remember, right. Oh, Superman being a big hit back in the day. Yeah, Oh, Superman. God, now there was a song. I reached number 2 in the UK charts back in 1982. I would have been 11 years old. And again, we kind of, England, UK, kind of gave Laurie Anderson a musical career because it was a privately pressed single. It wasn't meant to do anything, and the story is that I don't know if it was Kenny Everett played this song, and again, a bit like he did with Bohemian Rhapsody, and it became very popular on the radio. And so Laurie Anderson ends up signing a contract with Warner Brothers, for like an 8-album deal or something, just to release this single because demand was so high. And again, it was a really big hit, and it's quite a long song. It's like 8 minutes 21. I think there may have been a 7-inch edit, but it was still quite a long song for a single, and it was just the sound of the future arriving. I just remember hearing it, and it was just, I know, it always stuck in my mind. So when I began my journey of musical discovery, it was always on my mind to catch up with Laurie Anderson, and more importantly, that album that Oh Superman came from. Yeah, I mean, it's. I listened to it again. I mean, I got this recently. I mean, because I sold my CDs. I sold all my Laurie Anderson CDs because I'm an idiot. So I bought this one again at the weekend. It arrived at the weekend. I was listening to it, and it just has the same impact on me. It hasn't changed in all that time. It hasn't changed, and it still has the same impact on me. And it's just, I mean, I can understand there'll be a lot of you out there that will go, well, it's not prog, but it is an incredibly progressive album. You have odd time meters, you have sampling, a very early version of sampling, of course, on Oh Superman. You have a very literate performer. The words, very literate. It's a very intelligent work. And from that opening track of From the Air, I was hooked in, because again it's in this kind of 9/8 pattern. It's like really, and it's like, oh, here we go. And it's just, I don't know. There's something about the drums. So again, I was just talking to somebody on Facebook. I think the drums. It was the first time on a CD that I'd heard drums sound actual drums. They sounded real and alive, and they resonated and they touched me. And you think, that's crazy, Darren, this is electronic music. It may be so, but there is a very interesting rhythmic heart to it. And again, From the Air, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare played out. Everyone's nightmare of being on a plane and, falling out of the sky. But again, it's cleverer than that. That leads into Big Science. And again, the term Big Science relates to the science that came during. It was kind of inspired by the World War II, when there was a lot of public interest, almost like the race to the moon came out of the rocket tests and that. That's where the term big science came from. And it kind of, again, the idea of all this is that everything is around us is designed, is of a design, was designed by someone, and we live in a very a scientific world. We don't necessarily realise it. Again, and there's something about this music that haunts me, because it is poetry put to music. These aren't necessarily lyrics. These are poems, tone poems, and that. And then we get stuff like Sweaters, which is just again very short track, and I just love it. Again, love the power of the drums there. Walking and Falling. That was an interesting one, because when I studied biology, we was told that we're always falling. We don't realise it, but the way our nervous system relates to our muscle system is we're always catching ourselves from falling. But we don't even realise it. It's just, and that's where Walking and Falling comes in. She's stating basic science to us, stating the obvious. Laurie Anderson states the obvious beautifully, and that's what makes it good fun. And so, hearing these songs, a great We'll Never Ask, another great, What's Behind the Curtain, We'll Never Know. It's a bit like Wizard of Oz, we all want to know what's behind the curtain, but should we really ask? And then we have Oh Superman. Now, Oh Superman, it had a life. It had a life. And then it took on a whole new meaning. I was lucky to see Laurie Anderson doing one of her very rare kind of rock tours, because she does a lot of spoken tours, and I've seen those. But she did a concert at the Royal Festival Hall, late 2001. Would have been about October, November time. It was just a couple of months after 9/11. And I'm sitting there, and she plays Oh Superman. And again, it's a thrill for me to hear this song played live, performed. And I'm sitting in the box at the Royal Festival, just entranced, listening to it. And then here come the planes. They're American planes, and that line, I'd never thought about it before. The whole song took on a new meaning, and it transcended time and space and history, and you just go, wow. And it's funny how our ideas and things come round in a circle. They are cyclical in nature. The more things change, the more they stay the same. That's something you'll often hear me say. But yeah, Superman is a great thing about, great song about, paranoia, loneliness, wanting to be embraced. It's very deep, and it has different meanings now. It's got different levels of meaning. You can look at it in different ways. And then we have example number 22. And again, as the album tells out, we have the last track is X = X and It Tango. Again, it's very rhythmic, rhythmic track, and there's a lot of wordplay, and it just ends the album for me perfectly. Just kind of unwinds the album perfectly, and it's just 38 minutes 19 seconds of pure perfection. It's a record I don't think I'll ever get bored with. It is just amazing. It's a hard one. I've had all the records. Life on the String comes close to it. I really wish you'd bring out songs from Moby Dick. Because there's some good stuff on there as well. But yeah, it's just such a great record, and it's of its time. But again, whilst some people say it's like electronica and it's electronic music, it isn't. It has a very human heart to it. It's a very human pulse. Again, like with Oh Superman, there's something about it that makes me feel uneasy. There's a pulse to it that makes my heart kind of race or skip a beat or something. And then when you hear the birds come in, because there's bird sounds mixed into it, and it unnerves me. There's something very unnerving, and for it to be electronic music, it's it has a very human pulse to it. Um, and again, it's just for me, it's one of the albums. It's an essential album. It's it's just a great record. I cannot say any more. I mean, I was going to go on and on about it, but I did threaten a 30-minute epic of me whittering on about Big Science, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and keep this within the 12 minutes, because I don't want to bore you guys. And again, you only watch a couple of minutes of these videos anyway, according to the retention data. So yeah, Big Science. It's a really great album. I can understand why some of you may be naturally resistant to it, but I really do think you should check it out. In fact, it's not. I'm going to order you to do it. You should listen to this album. It's a very important record, and you may not get it. You may go, oh, this is. You may dismiss it. I've heard people. It's again. It's a bit like what we call Marmite. Marmite over here is a yeast extract spread we put on toast, and you either love it or you hate it. I happen to love Marmite, but Big Science could be considered a Marmite album. You either love it or you hate it, but you can't deny how important it is. I mean, people are still sampling it and covering "Oh Superman," and so it's a very important record. The production again is also, I think, is fantastic, and it's timeless. It's one of those records that is just timeless. I just just get excited about it. It's just an exciting record. So there you go. That's it. I think we're there. In terms of a rating, I'm going to give this 5 sweaters out of 5. That's 5 big old sweaters out of 5, because it is just a great record. And again, on the back, I've just noticed this because they've revised the artwork on the back. There's Laurie Anderson, and in the background, Twin Towers. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of says it all, really. But it's it's an amazing record, and like I said, its power hasn't lessened over all these years. Yeah, that's it. This was suggested by someone on the Facebooks. I've forgotten who it was. I did have it in my memory, but it slid. But every so often, if you follow me on the Twitters and the Facebooks, I shout out, "Tell me what to review," and people, give me a load of old obscure stuff which I have no interest in talking about, and then one or two suggest sensible suggestions, and this was one of them. So was "Remain the Night" the other day. Both from New York, aren't they? Really, they're both New York kind of albums, from New York bands, New York artists. So yeah, that's it. My name's Darren Lock. I've been talking about Big Science by Laurie Anderson. Her official debut. She had been on other albums before this, but it was the breakthrough title. Again, an album that you should take very seriously. Like I said, you should all be going out. I shall put a link in the doodad so you can get it from Amazon, but you should all at least check it out, because I think you will all benefit from it, and it will certainly help you, one, review what you think progressive music is, and two, give you a different take on electronic music too. Electronic music isn't all, funny haircuts and and out there videos. It can be intelligent, and this is a very intelligent album. That's it. Only one more thing to say, and you know what that is. It is Prog on.